Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Secretary, for being here. And the discussions, the questioning that's going on is important for us to do. The Northwest Ordinance stated about education, religion, morality, knowledge being necessary to good government and the happiness of mankind. Schools and the means of education shall forever be encouraged. That's not in our U.S. Constitution. That is in the Michigan Constitution, taking high priority for the necessity of having schools and education encouraged so that people would be happy and productive. And so our discussion today, as we've passed ESSA, was really an intent to roll back the power, authority, direction, control of the federal government, and to really give, as we've talked about, at least in a bipartisan way, the fun quotient back, the exciting quotient back to educators in the classroom, school board members on the board, parents with dreams and aspirations for their kids, to know that education is a neat, beautiful, fun, and productive priority in civilization. And that the greatest control would come from, with the creativity, from the local schools, teachers in the classroom, school boards, parents who love their kids, state boards of education. And so today, as we're discussing this, it is becoming at least evident to me that this is the creative tension that we have when we have a powerful entity in the U.S. Department of Education that arguably wants to do right by kids and schools, but has a philosophical position to push, and a pattern that's been developed over the years of, whether you believe it or not, we want to make sure that what we want to happen in our schools happens. That's human. And I think the reason for our discussion today and hearing is to say the priority goes back to the states, and that's what our law did. So along with that, that will be a creative tension that we have and will continue to have, and hopefully make it productive. To continue on some of the questioning again, and develop it further, Mr. Secretary, the statute requires states to assess 95% of students while protecting the right of parents to opt out and granting states the sole discretion for determining how the test participation requirements should be factored into the state's accountability system. In fact, the statute explicitly prohibits you from prescribing how the state factors the requirement into the system, at least as I read it. Yet your proposal requires states to take at least one of 4 prescribed actions against schools that miss the requirement. Your proposal also requires schools that miss the requirement to develop a plan to address the failure, and requires school districts with large numbers of such schools to also develop an improvement plan. This may be indeed a laudable goal, but the law is a law. So let me ask you this question. Can you provide the committee the specific statutory language that gives you this authority?
Let me first say, Congressman, as a former high school social studies teacher, I appreciate the quoting of the Northwest Ordinance. It doesn't happen often.
I'm a Neanderthal, I guess, going back to
No, I appreciate
history.
it. I appreciate it. And I want to say I strongly agree with your point on the importance of the flexibility in this law around the design of the accountability system and the design of the interventions. Which is, I think, also an important area of flexibility for states. On the question of participation rates, we offer...
What is your statutory authority? That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I just want to make sure, in your framing of the question...
I got 23 seconds.
I'll be quick. In the 4 options that are described in the regulations, one of them is for the state to determine how it will approach the enforcement. The other 3 are offered as means by which the state could enforce the 95% accountability requirement, which is in the statute. And states could choose the fourth option, which is state determined, and that would go through peer review. So we're careful, as I've indicated before, to ensure that our regulations are consistent with the letter of the law.
But I still didn't hear your specific statute.
The gentleman's time has